There's something called knowledge trap. Because I found those business owners are in their craft for so long, years and decades research. Of course, this thing should be made the world better. But investor audience don't have that. So there is a journey we have to take people from the moment that the founders started a journey maybe 10 years ago. That moment, that person have no idea how better solve this problem. Now after 10 years research, they got here. Yes, this thing gonna change the world. Amazing. But your audience, your investor, your customer likely are still here. We have to take the journey with them. Understanding what drive human, all of us, also understand our ultimate motivation and crafting that right story so we can bring them along with us.
Hey, this is Nick Armstrong, and you are watching the Founded in FoCo podcast. Every episode, we get a chance to interview somebody doing cool and innovative things in our community. And today, we have a cool, interesting innovator in Wen. Wen, welcome to the show.
Hello, Nick. I am such an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And introduce yourself. Tell us about your business.
Yes. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Wen, just like Wendy, but without the D. I am super honored to be here. Today, I'm running INNW Institute, which is short for If Not Now When. Today, we are supporting, incredible founders, entrepreneurs, helping them to get the yes they're looking for, whether yes for investor, yes from customers. And the main reason we are building what we do is, today, me and I'm sure Nick, you also met a lot of incredible entrepreneurs who I call it the technical entrepreneurs, who are scientists, who are engineers, who are developers, who are great at creating that incredible solution, right? Solving the problem for the customer. But yet, when we're shifting the role from problem solver to now entrepreneur, now the go to raising capital, no one to go to serving the bigger audience. Right now, the shifting role of telling a right story so we can get more yeses. And that's a part that I see oftentimes tech entrepreneurs are challenging. And that is a space that we are filling by supporting those incredible smart individuals, technical entrepreneurs, helping them tell the right story so they can get the yeses in the next level. So that is what we do. I am super excited to be here today, Nick.
Ascribing value to any particular skill set or your intrinsic value as an entrepreneur is really difficult. And one of the things that I've seen nonprofits be particularly adept at is this, because they have to ask for donations so often and repeat that same story. So one of the lessons that we've learned from like the food bank, for instance, that I'll share with some of my clients is, what is the value of $1? If I pay you $1, what is the return on investment of that particular dollar? And so in the case of the food bank, it's $1 equals 5 meals. And so that's a really visceral connection in the minds of a lot of folks, and in particular to their donor audience. They love to know that correlation. So what's your approach? How do you get folks to go and tell their value? How do you get them closer to yes?
That is a phenomenal insight, Nick. Thank you for speaking that. Because oftentimes what we observe is for those entrepreneurs, they love talk about their product, especially tells all about the feature, all the updates, all the amazing things they've been working so hard for the last few months and years building on, but knowing who your audience is. Right? If you're having a technical presentation, if you are speaking to those folks, no problem. However, you are speaking to investors and think about what do they really want. Of course, they wanted to know the cool invention you're working on. They wanted to be part of something cool that can change the world. But first and foremost, they are investors. They are here to invest, hopefully have a positive return on investment. So I love what you speak about the ROI part about, this is really important for founders to understand. It's not about us to tell people what we build and what the technology is. It's to articulate in a very short and concise manner, tell them what we do, but more importantly, why does it matter and how would this helping you to having a positive return on investment. In other words, this is not about another ad tech solution, another AI, incredible software, all the incredible thing you are building. This is about how do we position our company as a multi-million dollars investment opportunity today. And that key shift, in my humble opinion, differentiate from great entrepreneurs to extraordinary entrepreneurs who go out there raising, scaling, and serving their customer of the world.
Certainly, we've seen this with, the Shark Tanks are always the easiest methodology to point to, right? So the example of like the Woobles or something like that, it teaches you to crochet. Now, there are so many different Etsy or whatever crochet patterns out there, like for beginners and all of this. bundling it all together in one kit. Now that's the widget, right? So there's a widget. Great. I can, unzip this pack. I have all of the tools to do the thing. I have the yarn, I have the patterns and whatever else. But the shift that you're talking about in particular is the shift away from the value of the widget, which is great, right? Because you can make money off of a widget. You make it for X, you sell it for 2 or 3X. And that's not the thing. What the thing is that generates the value is the holistic piece, which is this will shift how you approach your creative time. This will give you a new creative outlet for something that's super cute and adorable, and you will be able to put on your shelf and show off and have pride. And it changes your aspirational identity. And I think that's where I think that's what I'm hearing from your approach. Is that accurate?
That's a great observation, Nick. Again, it's never about the thing. Without the why, what never matters. And it's about how you individually approach about what that why look like, right? And at the end of the day, I think individually, and think about what makes human, what make us to say yes to anything we ever purchase or say yes to. You think about could be a big purchase like a house or a car, or small as a coffee you have this morning. Fundamentally, the yes has to connect to our human drivers, human needs. And roughly speaking, there are 4 categories that I have personally observed. Can I tell that really
Please, yeah.
quickly? First thing is, by saying yes to this thing, well, this thing will help me make more money. That look like it's more abundance. That look like it's more a positive ROI. Think about your phone plan. Think about your retirement saving account. Things like that nature fall into that category. Yes, help me with the money saving, money generation piece. That's one. Second, saying yes to this thing will help me become more healthy. Healthy in whatever dimension your customer value. Could be taller, shorter, bigger, smaller, whatever that look like for your customer. Say yes to this thing, help me more healthy. Third is saying yes to this thing will help me become more connected to, let's call it love, relationships. That will be your friendship, your community, your loved ones, all and above. Right? Those are 3 human drivers. And on top of that, saying yes to this thing will give me the sense of peace and freedom. So we have a whole world in front of us. So it's the 4 fundamental categories why people say yes to anything. But above that human need category wise, above that, at the end of the day, it's not about the thing. It's about how can we be part of something bigger than ourselves? How can we inherently want to have that long-lasting legacy without we say it out loud or not, without we aware or not? How can we be something bigger than the mundane life we live every single day? And I tell this founder every day that I think, if you think about this, all the investors, they kind of living a very quote-unquote a boring life, very boring. They sit in a bunch of cash thinking, oh my God, what do I do with it? And then you as a founder, oh my God, you are changing the world through your game. You know that, wow, when this product, when this innovation, when this scientist discovery be deployed to the world, being captured by the market, wow, we can change in a whole new world. So therefore, I believe it is our responsibility as a founder, as a business owner, to tell the right story so we can bring those incredible investors into our world, seeing the world we see, seeing, wow, I can totally see why. Yes, I'm in. And that is, I believe, the win, win, and win. When any transaction occurs, investment, sales, partnership, whatever that is, that's only because we adding value to all parties. And right now, oftentimes, a lot of founders, business owners are just so stuck in their world, they think, of course, this is no-brainer, of course. But no, there's something called knowledge trap. Because I found those business owners are in their craft for so long, years and decades research. Of course, this thing should be made the world better. But investor audience don't have that. So there is a journey we have to take people from the moment that the founders started a journey maybe 10 years ago. That moment, that person have no idea how to better solve this problem. Now, after 10 years research, they got here. Yes, well, this thing gonna change the world. Amazing. But your audience, your investor, your customer likely are still here. We have to take the journey with them. Understanding what drive human, all of us, also understanding our ultimate motivation and crafting that right story so we can bring them along with us. Again, if leader without people leading us, we're just taking a walk. And it's our job to bring everyone along and seeing what we see. And that's how we get the ultimate yes.
How did you get started in this market, and what were the learning lessons for you to get to where you are now?
Great question. Can I tell a little backstory?
Yeah.
A lot of people did not know. First of all, Wen, the Wen means in Chinese, it means rainbow in the sky in Chinese. So many people did not know this. I was born and raised in a small little village in south part of China. And where I grew up is on a mountain where if you want to visit nearby city, you have to get in the car, you go around the mountain and around and around and around. 8 hours later, you arrived. And, just so you know, grow up, we don't have cars or internet. So you can imagine in a town like that, well, people born there, people live there, and they likely die there happily. That's just how the way the town is. But some things in me, I don't know what that was. As little as I remember, I walk around the town when I was little and just stare in the sky and just I was daydreaming. Daydreaming, what if one day I can go see the world? And that started my quest. I'd find a random visit a library in the corner. I find a cassette tape machine. And that's when I start to teach myself English using a cassette machine and thought maybe use that as an opportunity to help me to venture the world. And there I began, as you can imagine, I did not just fail one time, not just 5 times. I failed 9 times in 4 years when everyone around me all think I'm crazy. They all think I'm out of my mind. And I can't believe I finally made it. I started my American dream and it came to this world. And, I speak for that backstories because I think as I'm today supporting entrepreneurs, business owners, I see we are all doing exactly the same things. I was a dreamer once, and that's who I always are. And when I look at those incredible dreamers, entrepreneurs, inventors, scientists, they are all dreamers as well. They had a bigger dream, bigger vision, and yet the people around them probably not yet understand them. A lot of them also do something crazy too. Instead of living the perfect 9 to 5 job, getting paid great by Google, they want to quit the job and start something seems so crazy, so trivial, so whatsoever. But I truly believe that it is the dreamer, it is that person holding that light in their heart, think that this is possible. It is those crazy one, the very first to set the new standard. Those people gonna truly make a mark on this planet. So that is my why, how I started. In terms of my journey, long story short, when I come to United States, I start my journey in Chicago. After my first master's degree in marketing, I start in Chicago in the startup space. I start my own business as well as many other startup journey I've been embarked. It's been a very fun time in Chicago. I have some success, a lot of failure in between, but yeah, I have so much fun. After 5 years, I thought to myself, you know what? I had a promise. I never thought, first of all, I never thought I will ever have chance to see the light of a day outside of my village. But so I promised myself, if I ever get a chance to live, I'm going to truly see the world. So there's a moment come to my awareness, realize, wow, I'm really seeing this startup, this small world in Chicago, and I want to see a bigger world. That's when I got my MBA from Duke University, and that's when subsequently I came to Dell Technology. I leading their go-to-market team, global strategy when it comes to channel segment, about $320 million portfolio, about 400 sales teams in North America. So I done it for 3 years, which is, so much fun. It really helped me see the global picture about the global world really is in the business setting. And that moment, life is good, right? I make good money. I look on LinkedIn. People, I dress nice. I mean, all the things, right? But somehow, somewhere, something is missing. And I wonder, who am I? Why am I really here? And I thought if I just want a paycheck and a big events in the suburb of a fancy city, I don't ever need to leave. That's the moment I start really thinking inward, like who am I really are? Whether it's when I'm in the village and dreaming about the global world, or when I'm in Chicago hustling my own startup. I think at heart I'm that dreamer, I'm that business owner. I love to be the change we all want to see in the world. And meanwhile, I think about my skills and my experiences last decades or so, whether it's business or education, all that. My strengths is in marketing, in strategy, in business development, in sales, in storytelling. That's why I bring my strengths to what I love together, and that's how the Institute was born. So again, I so passionate about this because I believe there are so many incredible founders leave so much money on the table if we are not able to articulate who we are, what we do, and why does it matter. Whether it might be a fancy, like let's call it investor pitch on the stage, or could be just a casual happy hour, at Denver. What do you do? How do we answer that question? It seems so trivial, so small. How do we have that lasting impression and have people say, wow, well, that's interesting. Tell me more. In those small yeses, add together become big yeses. How do we build that long-lasting relationship, friendship, partnership, mentorship, so we can truly build that win-win and win community all around? And that's something that really just made me super, super excited and help me get up to bed every day. So that is how I got here, Nick.
You mentioned that your focus is on technical entrepreneurs. Is that a side effect of like the experience with DAO? What was the focus on technical entrepreneurs versus other folks? And is that has that been a really an interesting methodology to work with, knowing that a lot of those archetypes are very like introverted and they don't want to, they're not necessarily the best salespeople for their own inventions, even though they know it through and through?
Yeah, great question, Nick. First of all, I want to clarify one thing. I think oftentimes, for listeners who are listening, maybe think, well, I'm one of those, introvert entrepreneurs. I don't think they ever set out to the world, say, I want to share my story. I don't think ever anyone have that intention. Instead, they are thinking, I have this cool scientific discovery. How can I bring that to my customer? That is their quest. But you can see there's a missing link here for entrepreneurial business owner to think to bring that innovation from the lab to the market. The great deal of it is tell the right story, being a visionary. Think about Steve Jobs, right? I'm sure he does not spend 100% of his time in the lab working on the iPhone cases. Instead, he walk on the stage and tell everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Apple. And Apple will do things differently. We're challenging status quo by creating a completely beautiful design product and extremely simple to use. In other words, his ability to invite and ignite the vision from everybody was a direct result why today Apple is $1 trillion company. So I think that is a one big clarification. I don't think any entrepreneur, let's call it technical entrepreneur, who are problem forward, like they are focusing on solving a problem for the customer. I don't think any of them ever wake up in the morning thinking, Nick, I want to have a talk. No, they think, how can I solve the problem? And that's a part that I'm just so falling in love with. Again, I think there are two types of entrepreneurs in the world. One is entrepreneur want to be, other is entrepreneur who truly just solve the problem. And I believe that fundamentally, this is the part that can change the world. People can say, well, when I want to have a company that's selling pants. Why? Because I like green color. There's no other green I see in the Walmart, so I'm going to start that. That is wonderful approach. I, blessing them so much. Free country, you do whatever you want. But I believe that as entrepreneurs who have the ability to using their creativity to changing the world, and that line into the problem solver. So by default, those are a technical ability focused entrepreneur who spending times in the field, in the laboratory, talking to customers. Those are, I call it founder market fit. I believe that is the first and foremost, the number one important factor before we talk about pitch, talk about story, talk about, presentation strategy, all in above. Again, use a little silly term, say, you cannot put lipstick on the pig. Right? If the business idea itself, if we're selling this pen, I couldn't be as fancy. No matter how great I am, this pen just gonna sell the market value, which is $1. But oftentimes in the early stage in this game, there's no evaluation, right? $1 million to 5, this is just like arbitrage. But our ability to tell the right story can directly correlate to how we've been perceived by the investor, how we play the game on the table. So that moment, that story, that vision, that strategy matters drastically. Am I answering your question, Nick?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that hints at the idea of like, how do you take those largely, they're not really introverts, but they are very much focused on the work and solving the problem. And I love that as an approach, because it's not about like, oh, I don't like people. It's just I am so focused on the problem that I am solving that I just,
Yes.
any other consideration, social graces, whatever else, sometimes
Second to
goes,
none.
yep, it just goes to the background. What can you tell us about your panel at Founded in FoCo? What can we learn? What will we learn when we show up?
Oh my God, gonna be so much fun, everybody. So if you have not got a ticket, now is a good time. So everything I just speak about, sounds good in theory. You might be thinking, wow, when that sounds cool, but how can I build my pitch? And that is where the panel gonna be. So we're gonna come together as you join our session. It will be a pitch session, which is pitch in actions. We're gonna bring entrepreneur on the stage. I'm gonna show some framework. I'll be real time helping entrepreneur transform their pitch in the real time. And we're gonna have multiple interactive sessions with individual fellow founders. In short, you're gonna walk away feeling excited, knowing exactly what to say in your next event, whether it's the happy hour right afterwards, what is your next investor pitch. We want you to walk away with a full confidence, knowing exactly who you are and how to articulate your invention in the right way to get yeses. So that is what we're going to do in a nutshell.
Do you have any homework for listeners at home who want to try this process, maybe a small portion of it for themselves? What
Yeah.
should they be doing right now as an action item?
Well, I do offer this, free pitch workshops on my site. If people wanted to say, hey, when that sounds cool, I'm ready to dive in right now, they can feel free to, dive in. It is, you can see it for yourself. If you cannot make it to Denver, I would love to meet you in Denver because it's more fun is in the real time where we are conversing back and forth. And, I want to be a big disclaimer is there's never a perfect pitch. There's only pitch that resonate. So it's never about what one about to say. More importantly, is how do we speak to another human being, whether it's in the virtual zone like this setting or in person, when you see people's reactions, see what resonates, what doesn't. So the picture is always this back and forth a process. And the magic is in the making. So if you all can make it in person, I would highly recommend you come and meet me in person, say hello, and tell me you listen to this podcast. And I would love to invite you on the stage or off stage, chat about your pitch. But if you cannot make it, I also put a link in the chat. This is a virtual pitch workshop we also create. It's completely for free, of course. If you feel curious, you have 30 minutes diving in your pitch today. Now is a good time.
Excellent. And we'll put those links in the show notes for you as you're watching this episode. Where can we find out more about your business?
Yes, and yes, I'm gonna put, first of all, I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. I put my LinkedIn note in the chat. So me and my entire team, we do a lot of research on what made a good pitch, what kind of, email investors are looking for, what kind of attention we should expect when we get the first, yes, right, all and above. So I actually post a lot of resources on my LinkedIn for free for all of us. If you're curious, connect with me and we can definitely stay in touch. I'm also gonna share my website in the chat as well. So if you're curious to hop in my site, seeing all the overwhelmingly positive testimonial from all the founders, what they say about us, that's a place for you to find out and also further connect with me.
Wen, thank you so much for being here on the show with me today. And any words of wisdom that we didn't get a chance to convey to our listener today?
I just want to leave you all with one last thing. I know it's not easy. Starting a business, going there to pitch to investor the very first time, or show up to the event that you don't even know anybody. But I'm going to say that I know this is for you. This is not just about a project. This is not just about a check. I know you are stepping for something bigger than yourselves. And I want you all to remember this is never about us, about me, about how I speak. When we leave me out of the equation, there's no worry, there's no concern. And I want you all to focusing not just about you, but hundreds, if not thousands, millions of customers worldwide who are waiting for you to rising up so you can be the server, so you can be the leader, so you can create that impact you always dream about. So before you go to the next event, the next moment, the next pitch, when you feel that little bit discomfort, just tell yourself it's not about me. I'm here to serve. I'm here to rising up. And when we, walking with that attitude, all the fear dissipates because the world is waiting for you. And if not now, when? If not you, whom? Now is the best time.
If you're not inspired, I think there's something wrong with you. You should probably go to the doctor and get your pulse checked. Wen, thank you so much for being here with us today and for joining us at Founded in FoCo. Our event is March 4th through the 8th, and we cannot wait to see you there. And for more great entrepreneurial wisdom from fellow entrepreneurs, visit foundedinfoco.com, check out our podcast, and share with your fellow entrepreneurs, because that's how we all learn. And we'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Nick Armstrong, and this is a Founded in FoCo podcast. For more great interviews like this one, join us at foundedinfoco.com.